even was cheekily saying you did that one on purpose. All right,
exactly.
Let's zero in on the bans, because we got a Xerxe and a Ryze off the table. We got Caitlyn and Kalista off the table. We also have the Zoe being removed. So 3 mid laners that Sejuani hadn't mentioned it either, but that takes a backseat and a nice little hover.
Taunting Odoamne, who also wrote on Twitter that Maokai was useless. He hates playing that champion.
This pick ban phase is all about Twitter, man. Okay,
it is.
So
Galio.
it's a first pick Galio Misfits game.
There's still Kog'Maw here for Kobbe that he can grab if he wants that for guaranteed late game success on the side of Splyce and a good rage play power spike, but you gotta be careful then against champions like Galio and Camille potentially, or Jarvan Galio who can dive onto the back line. And AD carries without any jumps can't really get away from it, and that's why I think it is a wise decision on Splyce's side to say Tristana instead. She does have a jump, and then she can actually peel for herself.
Yeah, Kobbe has played quite a lot of AD carries for having only 5 games so far in the spring split, and Tristana's one of them.
First time he's playing a champion more than once.
Yeah.
So far in this split. Let's see with the next one. Xerxe has become a highly contested pick.
With or without Sejuani available.
Right, yeah, we've actually seen him picked also when Sejuani is banned, but his gank potential is very high, and then in the late game, of course, with his ulti, if he doesn't connect to the back line, he can use that to swoop someone back, and I think he's a strong pick, especially for late game team fights, but Jarvan is still fine, or you go later down, or you go further down the jungle pool, and there are picks like Jax in there that we've already seen some success. I'm happy the Skarner kind of died instantly after it was picked up, because I'm not the biggest fan of him.
Gave it an attempt, yeah, but what hasn't died this game, the Tahm Kench was left up and available.
Oh,
it's paired with the Kog'Maw, so that is a really safe, really scary late game.
So Corki here was the one I was kind of looking at for Nisqy. It is one of the choices against Galio, because Corki with the strong scaling doesn't really get punished early game by Galio, and he can just kind of sit and farm nicely into the late game. And then running a double AD carry comp against what now is typically an AP Galio is very effective, because if Galio is trying to taunt you, you can kill him very fast. He's not as tanky as he used to be with the new builds, and double AD carry can work really effectively against it. Misfits were happy giving or allowing Splyce to potentially ban the Jarvan. They didn't grab it early on because they wanted to secure a very safe, strong late game bot lane for themselves. I like the Camille ban. Already mentioned the Jarvan Camille combination, and also, sorry, the Jarvan and Galio. Same thing with Camille Galio. Dive the backline, keep them in place, smack Galio ult. I actually think Splyce on their side could decide to ban the Jarvan here away from Maxlore if they want to.
One more. The Braum is also removed, so Kasing won't have a chance to pair that up with Kobbe's Tristana.
And we know he can play Zilean.
Plank ban. Yeah, we do know that for sure. We saw Kobbe going crazy when he was given the speed boost.
Ornn is still available in this draft, and we've seen him still banned away despite some of the nerfs to his W that happened here on patch 8.2. And with the GB ban, I think that is a safe choice for Odoamne. And up in top lane here with Alphari, he's been playing a lot more carries recently, but he can just grab Cho'Gath if he just want to go tank versus tank. Be happy with that and say, listen, we just need a super strong front line to protect Hans Sama behind us. That will be fine for him. Now, if you want a bit more split push pressure, is also available.
Okay, well, with a couple of seconds still eking it out, Misfits certainly thinking about that one, and makes a lot of sense. Locked in for Alphari, and even Mikyx can't resist trolling Odoamne.
Now, this Ornn can be subbed down to the support role. Support Ornn is still available or viable, meaning Odoamne can counterpick top if he wants to. Jace is on the table if you want to try and grab that one and see if he can shut down this Gnar here. But we're still waiting for the jungler. Taunting everyone with the Skarner, and there's the Jax we talked about earlier, still being one of the strong picks available.
All right, so that's locked in. Now, all that's left to answer is, do Splyce
give me Brand, come on,
themselves
Kasing.
up?
You're against a Tahm Kench, it's perfect for Brand.
I mean, it's risky.
It is. Zilean is over.
But Zilean is definitely more the comfort level for Kasing.
Yeah, for late game, Zilean is definitely perfectly fine here. If you want to try and win lane a bit harder, then Brand is there for you. Janna also available if you want another range support that can try and disengage against the Jax.
But it's the Zilean.
It is Kasing, and that means it's Zilean.
Okay, so looking down the line at the composition, Splyce, you talked about double AD carry, you talked about a fair amount of pressure, a good balance with the tanks in the top and in the jungle. You've got the Zilean ultimate, means that you can have a little bit of fearlessness if you're Kobbe. But for Misfits Gaming, that is a very scary late game.
It is, because they have Hans Sama, But I'm looking at Gnar and Galio and saying against double AD carry on the other side, they can struggle late game. Because they will build some damage on their side. They won't just be full tanks who can sit in front of an AD carry for 10-15 seconds. And these AD carries, with a Zilean behind them to protect whichever one is getting caught, I favor that in the late game. So I think on the side of Misfits, when to see the proactive Galio. The Galio who's forcing plays. On top side, they have a Gnar sitting. They grab for Alphari instead of taking a Cho'Gath. That is a lane they can look to try and play around if Ornn is pushing the Gnar down to his turret.
Well, we have talked a little bit about Sencux struggles on this team. Let's see if he's going to be able to turn that perception around on this Galio early on in the game.
But this is where Sencux will shine. He's very good at playing these mid laners with less about him being the carry and more about playing around the two side lanes where Hansama and Alphari, the main carries of Misfits, are sitting.
Yeah, all about them roams too. And all eyes will be on Sencux. And where he decides to go on the big gargoyle. For the Splyce boys, let's see what they can do in this game. Sitting at 2-3 right now is a hard-fought loss they had against G2 yesterday. A really rough one where they were knocking on the door over and over again. For them to come back in and shut down what a lot of people are looking at as being the, if not one of the top European LCS teams here in Europe. That would be a massive boost to their confidence. Here in the end of week 3, it's the final game. We're loading up onto Summoner's Rift one more time.
Let's see what Misfits can do with Galio, Jax, Gnar on the top side. Try and see if they can control the scaling Corki. And of course there's Ornn in lane. On patch H.2, Ornn lost the ability to be unstoppable when he uses his W, the little dash when he flies away. So you can CC him and lock him down when that happens. It makes it a bit easier to try and shut him down early. That is one of the options for Misfits on their side. And Maxlore yesterday ran Spellbook on his Sejuani, swapped to TP after the early game was over. Didn't get to use it very effectively for himself and had to go back to Smite later. But it was a very interesting strategy from Misfits' side.
It does seem like in a lot of ways Misfits are one step ahead of most of the competition, if you will. And I think that's a large part of why they found themselves here at 4-1. I mean, this is a team that is really impressed, that is, you know, made some changes, but for the most part, maybe side grades. I mean,
for now,
Sencux definitely not as much of an impact as Power of Evil, but
yeah, I mean, instant side grades, and then according to Misfits, upgrades down the line. The team is going to function better, be able to progress better, reach a new high after what we saw last split, where that famous BO5 against SKT that we Europeans will hang on to forever. We will never forget that BO5.
Yeah, and it was humble beginnings too. I mean, they had a year plan. That was get to Worlds. They did that and more. Sencux starting off at the end. Whoa, Maxlore, hello, level 2 flash.
Jeez, trading for a flash for flash right there. Early gank against Nisqy.
Man,
can he return now? There's a TP on Nisqy's side. No cleanse to get out of a taunt from a Galio or stun from a Jax. Sencux can flash taunt towards Nisqy, and then suddenly that might be a kill for Misfits if they return gank. Splyce can just ward around mid lane. They already have 2 wards placed to try and protect Nisqy.
Yeah, they're definitely going to need it. Now, he's pushing forward right now. We talked a little bit about Sencux struggling, but yeah, Nisqy, I feel like he's had a bit of a rough go of it up against the pool of European mid laners after he's returned from NA.
It's been a rough start, but let's be real. NA mids versus EU mids. EU mids will always.
Yeah, he was playing on easy mode.
There you go. Now he gets to play against some real mid laners, and then NA takes some of the real mid laners and basically a bunch of EU mids in NA anyway.
It's the circle of life.
Luckily, we have enough EU mids that there's room, or there's enough to fill up every team in the West with EU mid laners.
Just about. All right. Now, much has been made, of course, of the AD carry matchup, but of course, when there's a Kog'Maw in the mix, we're going to be waiting pretty late into the game before that really becomes the big story of the game. So we'll talk about that a little later. I want to see what else Maxlore does, because anytime you open up a game with a level 2 flash into the mid to try and get that kill, he's got a game plan in mind.
Of course. I mean, he hoped to get that early kill. He had to start a red buff, get instant level 2, and then go for the play. Bot lane, meanwhile, a range support versus Tahm Kench obviously means that Kasing will try and win the poke war, but you gotta respect that damage coming from the Tahm Kench Q. If you get hit by a few of those, it does hurt quite a lot in return, but it is in favor of Splyce right now with the push. Mainly though, you pick Zilean for late game, not for early game. You want to get to the point in the game where you just perma speed up your AD carry, that AD carry runs forward with 5-6 items and just shoots everything in the face. And when that AD carry gets caught, you Zilean ult to him, and he gets a pentakill. That's how it works, Pyre.
It's a pretty simple game plan, and it worked out pretty well for Kobbe already. So, and this is why it's so hype. It's, you know, Hans Sama, one of the greatest AD carries we have in Europe right now, of course, against Kobbe, the first pentakill of the season. But before this bottom lane gets too explosive, I want to go back to the jungles for just a second. Maxlore, he had a pretty proactive start, but Xerxe has also been very proactive for this Splyce team. It's a different kind of Xerxe, new haircut, and all of a sudden he's a new player.
He's been trying to play more around his laners, which is what you can see with the high jungle proximity to the left. But as you can see, with kills plus assist, he's very far down on the jungle list in Europe. He's not getting a lot, but he's mainly there for just potential counter ganks, add security, set up vision, and he's not the guy who's snowballing a lane, and that's never been his style. He's always been very focused on scaling junglers, where he valued his own farm above his laners, and it is fine if your team can then consistently, you know, survive laning phase without you being very proactive and ganking for them. But sometimes with this Splyce lineup, especially in the mid lane, and also in the top lane, we have seen Odoamne and Nisqy get punished early game by other junglers, where Xerxe was not there to help them.
That is true. It's definitely against the natural tendencies, but he's on this champion, Zach, that we have seen be so crucial, so critical to trying to make some early game plays. Of course, he is being zoned out of his own jungle. This is something else we've seen today. Zach's getting pretty much aggroed on. Yeah, he's going to pick up most of it. So Maxlore gets out scot-free, but doesn't pick up too much for his trouble. And there's all the TPs. Some of them spellbook, some of them not.
Yeah, 4 TPs for Misfits right now. Cannot pick 5 because Maxlore went with press the attack, which is the normal go-to choice on Jax, where it's all about landing as many auto attacks as possible on your targets. Can be hard to utilize it in team fights, where typically you get just a few hits off and then someone has already died or jumped away. But in this case here, we got double TP bot lane, as we see so often. On the other side, I will assume that Kasing, you can't see it yet, but he's probably running Airy. Seeing as it is necessary if he wants to build Ornn sensor in this game, because then when he speeds up Kobbe, the Airy applies and therefore also procs the Ornn sensor onto the AD carry. But I will remind you guys about that later, once he completes it and we get all the runes on screen.
Yeah, Ornn sensor, something we hear a little bit less these days than we used to. That was a fun meta in the last year.
Was it? Yeah, okay. It had its moments. It also definitely was.
It had too many of its moments. That was the problem.
Many moments.
About as many as we have stopwatches.
Towards the end, people were like, okay, we're done with Ornn Sensor. Let's move on. And then we did move on to stopwatches and spellbooks.
And
Nisqy
everything else. It's a very magical meta right now. Sencux finding Nisqy. Xerxe as well. It's a lot of damage being dealt, but Maxlore's looking to come in. He hops, he gets the leap strike, and the counter strike. That's first blood over to Sencux.
That first gank from Maxlore put that flash on cooldown, and for Nisqy, it's just ready in like 2 seconds from now, so he could not get away. We asked for a return gank, and we got it towards the mid lane. So advantage over to Misfits. Can they now unlock this Galio and his ultis to move either top or bot lane to make something happen? Bot lane, you gotta get through a stopwatch on Kobbe and a Zilean ulti very soon. You can't focus on Kasing though. He's squishy early on, and you can try and take him down.
That's true. Still pre-6 right now. Kobbe will get that level up, but Kasing doesn't have it yet, so he won't have the chrono shift. Let's see if they can get something done. Now, the Jax is going to be making a trip down bot. However, there is a deep ward there. They're going to know that he's on Krug camp. Let's take a look at a replay while we're waiting for it. Started pretty innocuous. They got the knock-up and the Tahm.
Smack, not a whole lot for him to do, seeing as he's missing flash. Xerxe is here around him, getting that jungle proximity up. Sadly, he can't really help his mid laner, who's sitting with just a few seconds on that flash. He's probably spamming the flash key at this moment, I don't know, Pyre.
That was a long moment.
And at this moment at the same time, but he's still spamming that flash key.
At this point, I don't know what to think, man. Yeah, it feels bad when you're almost getting it off cooldown. And here we go. Xerxe going up towards the top. He finds Alphari, almost the Mega Gnar. Call the Forge God. It's going to whiff, but Odoamne redeems himself by flashing forward for the kill.
Nice gank right there. Splyce had to use both flashes to get the kill, but they do shut down Alphari a little bit. And
they burn his flash, too.
Burn his flash, yeah. Odoamne can, of course, just push out and finally complete, or get closer to his first item in the game here. And this Ornn, it's all about ultis in the late game. The cooldown was nerfed on it, which was a necessary nerf.
Yeah, we saw a couple weeks ago why.
Yeah, it was just up like every 36 seconds, basically. Maxlore wants to fight.
Okay, finds Odoamne. He's gonna get dashed.
Odoamne,
see, there's the counter strike. Odo, he
Press
could be in some trouble. Oh boy, now there's minions there, but Maxlore don't care. He keeps smacking him. One more, that's all he needs.
Jax mechanics, everyone.
auto attack.
Land a stun, then you auto, then you use W for your reset, then you auto again, and eventually you will kill someone if they can't flash away from you. Nice return kill here for Misfits, and very important that Xerxe gets the kill.
Okay, look at how low Kobbe is right now. Well, don't look at that. Look at the replay.
All right, this is the first gank. Nice setup. Good stun from Odoamne, and Alphari getting chain CC'd until he tries to jump away, but still gets hit by the ult, and he will die. And then we get the sickest outplay of Maxlore's life. Look how he goes in. Here, auto attacks, W's. Then he jumps in with Q, stuns him, and he auto attacks him again.
Don't forget about the red buff tick. That did a lot of work.
That's true. And he had to flash too for it.
Boom.
Xerxe mechanics.
What a brave man through that line of minions. Take himself a well-earned blue buff. On his own side. He's going to give it over to Sencux, though.
You want to know a fun fact, Pyra?
Tell me, Deficio.
Junglers in the LCS this split, they've had 2 solo kills. Only 2 solo kills.
Really?
Both of them from Maxlore.
Best jungler confirmed?
Best jungler, at least solo killing people.
Okay,
no one else is doing it, apparently.
Yeah. Nicely done, Maxlore. You got that in your trophy case.
Most of them also playing tanks who can't really solo kill anything. But
yeah, that's fair. Well, we usually see this Xerxe going pretty tanky, and we can obviously see that trend, but that's the thing. Maxlore can still solo kill people.
A never-ending debate. Should a Xerxe after Cinderhold go full tank, or Trinity Force and Xerxe? Those are the 2 choices we get. Either you go Cinderhold and straight into another tanky item, or you go for some damage with that Trinity Force here and you try and actually be a little bit more of a threat when it comes to 1v1s and reaching the enemy backline and get a few hits off. See what Maxlore wants to do. He's up, 1 kill, 1 assist, so there's a bit of extra gold in his pockets if you want to get the Trinity Force.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I guess it depends on what kind of player you are, right? Do you want to be a team player? Do you want to win the team as 5, feel good, or do you want to just carry everything?
Yeah, I mean, isn't that technically also winning for your team?
Yeah.
Both of them kind of counts, I guess.
No, it's a good point.
Do you want to be the damage dealer, or do you want to be the support? That's kind of what you're gonna look at. In this game here, they have a lot of damage from Mansama, and of course, some AP damage coming in from Sencux, but there's room for Maxlore to build damage. And
yeah, and to solo Dragon.
Yeah.
Pretty easy. I mean, all the junglers are in the bottom right now as well, and we could be in for a little bit of a fight, but Maxlore's going to be a little late. He's bringing Sama and Mikyx over to help him out with this one, and let's actually talk about those AD carries once again, because we hit on this quite a lot over the course of the early game, and now it's starting to get real relevant here. Sama, man's been a beast.
He's been fantastic in late game team fights, 100%.
So is Kobbe, though.
Kobbe, same thing, and Kobbe's laning phase with Kasing has been fairly solid, at least when it comes to trying to gain some early advantages, and it's been the best lane for Splyce, bottom lane. It's been where most of their wins have been coming from, and they're looking to get Kobbe in a late game situation here, together with Nisqy on the Corki, and then have Kasing just sit back and protect these 2 AD carries.
Yeah, you mentioned that's kind of what you preferred in this matchup, just because of the way they picked the champions, because of the fact that Kobbe's on such an explosive carry in the way that they built out this comp. But it seems like it's still very even right now. Small advantage is Misfits' way.
Rage play is completed though from Hansama's side, so he's fairly strong, a lot stronger now than the Infinity Edge rush on the other side.
Ooh.
Let's see if they can do something here. Odoamne, he's safe for now.
Insta-flash.
Also before though, with that Infernal Drake, when you have Galio mid, you don't even have to pull off the ulti. You just go out of vision. And the enemy team is like, okay, he could ult bot lane. So Splyce just had to constantly allow Misfits bot lane to push first because Sencux was out of vision. And then they go for Drake. And what's happening here?
Well, Mikyx is swallowing up Sama. That's what's happening. As the Forge God gets a little extra damage, forces the flash.
Yeah.
He still gets hit by it. Oh, that puppy's getting toasted. He's going to have to walk away.
Make it flash to AD carry. Flash to him. Too far away. Otherwise, you would have done
a little bit. But I wanted to talk more about that mid lane, because we talked about Sencux and his need to be proactive on this Galio, or his ability to be checking in other lanes. The threat's been there, but we haven't seen him make those big ultimate plays to get involved.
Yeah,
not just yet.
Not used it just yet.
Oh,
didn't find an opening top list
everywhere.
Maxlore.
Okay, there's the stun, the auto. Got the slowdown. Does he have enough damage to kill the Kasing? I don't think so, but Mikyx is going to save his life, and he licks the support from Splyce, and now it is going to be some stopwatches, but a whole heaping helping of damage. Misfits for the dive. Xerxe coming in a little bit late, and there is the hero's entrance. Let's see if Xerxe is going to be able to get away. He avoids the taunt.
Great tower dive, though, from Misfits up top lane here. They first used Maxlore to tank it, then they reset it due to the Devour from Mikyx. And while he almost died, he still has stopwatch ready to further reset the tower aggro if needed. I like the play. Jump Kasing first, no stopwatch on this guy. Get him to use ulti on himself and then switch over to Kobbe when you can. Mikyx, make sure that Maxlore doesn't die, and now Mikyx's tanking it. Can use, of course, the extra HP from the shield coming in, and in case he almost dies, stopwatch is there, but realized he actually could just walk away from this one, and they do not get a kill on Xerxe, but they will get the turret now. Nice aggressive play from Misfits, using the advantage with the Rage Blade, and of course Maxlore's Jax.
Yeah, and that's the end of all that would happen earlier on with Hansama and Mikyx coming up early to the top side.
Good coordination, like week one, we saw Misfits try and make some of these plays where they would tower dive early game, and the coordination wasn't there, and G2 punished it, but this one here, perfect tower dive with the resetting from the Tahm Kench and the Jax.
Now we're starting to see the coordination coming in. Now, Maxlore's going to win the smite fight. Easy to do when you're up against an AD carry. Doesn't have smite on that red buff. So now the eyes are on the mid lane prize. Nisqy backing away, and Maxlore just coming straight through the jungle. Tahm Kench bringing Hansama as well.
Good rotation.
Nice rotation on the globals to just pick off tower number 2. 15 minutes on the clock, and this is where Misfits start to pull ahead in the race.
And it's clean. We always talk about the 4 TPs and how hard it is to play against if it's utilized properly. We're seeing that here. Constant pressure in the lanes. You're never allowed to sit and recall without losing something on the side of Splyce. Tahm Kench ulti at another semi-global, and Misfits are suddenly sitting with a 3,000 gold lead in this game, and they're controlling it.
Yeah, and not to mention the Infernal Drake. There's going to be another one of those, by the way, in a couple of minutes, and with the tempo advantage that they have, this could be trouble for Splyce. We've been talking about Splyce's late game and their ability to team fight, but Misfits in the mid aren't going to be, honestly, very weak either, especially the way this game is going.
And especially also because a good friend Maxlore wants a Trinity Force.
Oh boy.
Sheen is in the house for now. Could fool us all and go Iceborne Gauntlet.
Yeah, well, you got 2 tanks on your side. Well, tank and a half with the
Wait. Nisqy's bottling with the package.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay, package Valk over. That's a special delivery in Alphari's favor, but he wants to return to sender. And he's going to chuck a rock back at the Corki and walk away. Nice escape. Buys Maxlore some time to start off on the Rift Herald.
Both TPs on cooldown from Odoamne and Nisqy, so they can't just go in here and actually stop this Rift Herald from going down. Another objective for Misfits. Can utilize that one down the bottom lane once the dragon spawns, and then secure both a turret and another objective in just a minute's time. Alphari just needs to try and stay alive, and he did that with the last little... Yeah, so keep the turret. Why not? I mean, Nisqy can take it down next time, but...
Yeah. And then Gnar is starting to do some pretty good damage too. Those 2 kills he secured up earlier on the top lane allowed him to complete the Black Cleaver. He's definitely starting to hit a little harder. Splyce finding their territory a little shortened here on this map.
We do have Kasing currently sitting next to Kobbe. We'll do that the entire game long. What you can do now with the new support items, where you don't have to buy the Sightstone itself, is you upgrade just do your Frost Fang. So just get the first upgrade. And then when you get the quest item completed with the 500 gold, it turns into, of course, the new Sightstone. And while it only gives you 3 charges on Eye of the Frost, the item he's sitting with now, that's fine. You don't have to fully upgrade it to get the 4th charge and a bit of extra HP, a little bit more AP as well. You can actually now rush towards a real item while still getting wards. And you don't have to spend another 1,000 gold on upgrading for a Sightstone. So at this point here, he can rush an Ardent Sensor, or a Mikyx if he thinks he needs that for one of his AD carries, and still sit with a discount Sightstone.
Frees up the wall of the supports.
It's just good, because then later you can fully upgrade Eye of the Frost and spend gold on that, but you don't have to do it at first if there's something important you need.
That's the big F. Now, what do Splyce need right now? I think towers might be a good answer.
Yeah, but in order to get the turrets, they might have to win a fight against Misfits, and you can see all 10 members around mid and bot lane looking for a potential fight near an Infernal Drake.
Just shoving the waves back and forth. They might be keen to start this one off. They do have a lot of damage. It's double AD carry comp.
Sadly, Kasing did not get to finish his first item just yet in this game here, and Misfits are just controlling the mid lane and top because they have TP available on Sencux side.
FTP on 4
Oh,
members
look at
available.
Xerxe.
Okay, Kasing going forward, gets the stun up onto Mikyx. Xerxe forcing the flash out of the Misfits support. He's hop back out. Kobbe dodging the tongue. A couple more auto attacks. A lot of pings flying. See if they can catch on to Nisqy. No, here's the call of the Forge God. It's going to catch up Han Sama, and the knockup is going to land the Tahm Kench way. Spits back out the Jack. Let's see how this fight's going to go. Kobbe around the side. TP's almost completed. And here's entrances coming in. Short range for Sencux. But the chasing on to Odoamne, and Maxlore is going to pick up the first casualty of this fight. And it looks like the last.
Oh, the engage was pretty good here from Odoamne, but the Tahm Kench here to save the day. And then suddenly Splyce could not get on to Han Sama and actually kill him, despite him dropping low. Nisqy looking for Maxlore bot. He has one of their many TPs.
Yeah, nearly got pincered there. One TP getting spent. Nisqy trying to retreat back with the rest of his team. Might need that blast going pretty quickly. He's got the Kasing ultimate on top of him. Is not going to need to use it, but he does burn his flash. Sencux trying to go far forward, and Xerxe brings Mikyx and Sencux together before he pops his way out and tries to dodge away from that living artillery. Misfits just packing way too much firepower for these Splyce boys.
Fernand's still alive here, Pyra, but now we get Maxlore with the Rift Ult in mid, and then the team can go back and secure the very important Drake for the late game. Splyce, I like the fact they're trying to fight for it. They sadly are currently not sitting with enough items on their AD carries to really be a huge threat against the front line of Misfits. If they can stall the game, we'll get that later. But it is now Misfits getting another Infernal Drake.
Yeah, that's trouble for Splyce right now. 2 Infernals given up. It really hurts. And we're getting to that 20-minute mark. It's a big gold advantage, big dragon advantage. Let's see this fight again that led to it.
Yeah, I like the engage here. Of course, Mikyx can try and save Han Sama at first. And now we gotta look, can anyone from Splyce dive onto Han Sama? Odoamne tries with the flash, but Han Sama escapes, dodges around here, does not get stunned. And then Odoamne is all alone in the backline of Misfits. And meanwhile, his own AD carries, they're obviously playing the game where they're just hitting whoever's right in front of them. And Alphari stayed alive.
Yep. That's when you type, can someone focus the squishies, please? There's a lot of damage dumped onto Mikyx there, and he persevered through all of it.
Sadly, if you are playing a Corki or Tristana, it is difficult to jump through the enemy team and then hit the enemy AD carry. Can happen if you have
well, you can do it, but you're probably going to die.
You're probably going to die for it, and then maybe it's not worth it. Or that AD carry's out of position, and then you find him and you punish him. Also a possibility. When you have a Zilean ult, you can do it. Be a little bit more confident. Didn't get to see who Kasing used it on in the last fight.
Alright, nearly Mega Gnar. Some nice shots on to Odoamne down bot side. So only the 2 towers Misfits way this game. Splyce haven't been able to find too much of anything, and they're losing ground around the Baron pit. Wards littering their jungle, and they're going to have to clean them out.
Bot lane, tier 1 turret is the only one remaining on the side of Splyce. They've not been able to take down a turret on the other side. Now Alphari with the Black Cleaver will just keep sitting down here and just keep poking on Odoamne, and he can't really die 1v1. Nisqy might move down with the TP, or move down with the package and then TP back to a fight. But Misfits should be aware of that. If they see Nisqy missing for 30 seconds, they can call that he might be bot lane. And at the moment, they are controlling the map. Maxlore is hiding in here.
Yeah,
could try and go for dive.
Misfits might just do that. Could be looking to close these jaws around the Splyce team. And here is Maxlore hopping onto his opposite number. Xerxe gets the hop away. He's fine. Game's up.
This is normally a Pyro where Misfits are so good at controlling around Baron. They take almost no chances when it comes to setting up the Baron, and if they don't take that 50-50 we see other teams go for, they make sure to always then take the team fight instead, get out of the Baron pit and force the engage, or they make sure to stop the enemy jungler from getting into the Baron pit in the first place.
It's a safe setup, it's a clean setup. This is what this team is able to do. They're well coordinated, and it doesn't seem like they've had too many troubles with the few roster changes they have made, a lot of the cores there. Of course, things are a little bit different for this team, right? Like, they used to rely a lot more on the damage coming out of their mid laner, but things have definitely changed a lot. A lot more is on Han Sama, a lot more is on Alphari.
A 10% jump for Han Sama compared to 2017 summer with Misfits here. Of course, the breakout for Han Sama was in playoffs and during Worlds, but these numbers are really, really good from his side. And of course, Alphari playing more of the carries on top side. So Sencux is not doing what Power Weevil did, and that was, of course, be like the main damage dealer.
Right.
Things like Orianna, Syndra was being played a lot.
Sometimes it was relied on. I mean, during the regular season, it was almost a crutch, but then they changed things up quite a lot come playoffs and Worlds.
And now with the Sencux, they have a player who's very good at playing things like Galio, Talia, these kind of champions.
Man, we saw Aurelion Sol already today.
Aurelion Sol could be another one where it's all about snowballing the side lanes. I still think we're going to get some games where Sencux will be the main carry from the team, because the damage percentage doesn't always tell who's performing the best. It just shows which player is dealing the most damage on his team.
He's a different kind of mid laner for sure. Like we used to thinking about mid laners as being these like hugely always carrying things, especially in Europe when they're making the flashy outplays. But Sencux is just kind of cut from a different cloth.
I'm sure he wants to be the man who does
He's
all the
capable of
damage,
getting
or
big
deals all the
kills.
damage.
I've seen some sick plays out of that guy over the years. Remember when he joined Splyce and it was like LeBlanc every game?
And I remember how we hyped it as if he didn't do something, the team would lose every game, and then he had the one quadro kill on LeBlanc, and we probably showed that every single week for like 7 weeks of like, look, he did it once, but he did it.
Well, he was able to do it. And he did it on the side lanes too.
I actually still remember him being the Void King. Things like Kassadin and Malzahar all the time. That's where he really carried games for Splyce. See what happens in this game though, because the Galio performance so far been just fine. He's still building that AP build we see from most Galio mid lanes now. So again, it is a little bit more squishy compared to what we used to see. And if Nisqy and Kobbe gets to 3 items, they can burn through someone like Sencux.
Yeah. Alphari is going to be a little bit harder, and even though Maxlore is going for more damage, he's still got the Cinder Hulk. He's still going to be pretty beefy. And we've already seen a number of fights, a number of picks. Maxlore is really making his presence known in this game. So Splyce, they have a lot to contend with up against this Misfits team.
I mean, look at how little farm Splyce are actually able to get on the map. They're not allowed to even look at the river. Their jungle camps will get contested every single time. Right there. Great example. Thank you, Misfits. So Splyce might get some of it, but they're not getting it without taking a fight around it, or potentially be forced into a bad team fight where Maxlore shows up behind them. It's very tough for Splyce at the moment. They're looking for some sort of engage, but they get spotted every time they're in the jungle by the wards from Misfits. And we're just kind of waiting for Misfits to be strong enough to do Baron, or look for that one pick first.
Oh, in the meantime, too, they can do more than just that. There's going to be a Mountain Drake coming up soon that lets them continue to siege on these turrets. Misfits have definitely had all the objectives in their favor. And that Kog'Maw just keeps getting stronger and stronger.
Getting all the good Drakes for a team winning early game, that's for sure. Xerxe and the rest of Splyce now get a chance during this reset to go out, push the lanes for one, see the river, and then you get pushed back.
And to his credit, partially thanks to his support, Kobbe's got 2-level advantage on Hansama. The Tristana is going to be fairly strong. It's only 2 items. We want to wait for that 3rd item spike before he starts, you know, really getting explosive damage-wise. But he's going to be the key factor.
Now, Kasing.
Ardent Sensors.
Finally got his Ardent Sensor. Let's see what happens top.
Oh, here we go. Maxlore just turns around. Doesn't want to get caught in the wake of Nisqy, but he hops over to the Zac. Gets pulled along in for the ride and swallowed back up by Mikyx. Well, that's got to be disorienting.
Oh, Nisqy and Splyce might look for something here. Kobbe jumping forward. He's sped up by the Zilean.
Yeah, but here comes Sencux. Let's see if they can turn this around once more. Instead, both teams decide they don't want to take this fight.
If you want to play the Zilean at home, put a few ranks in queue early on, but then you max the E first. That's the one you want to get to rank 5. Kasing is sitting there right now, so he can speed up his AD carry. Ardent Sensor is completed, and as I said earlier, because he has Airy, when he uses the speed up on Kobbe, it does apply, and the Ardent Sensor will proc.
This is a good move for Splyce, though. After what looked like it could have been a chase, ended up being Splyce opening up the top side of the map, opening up the mid of the map, grabbing some control back. So in one fell swoop, all of a sudden, they're controlling this side of the river, and would you look at that? They're going for the Mountain Drake.
See if they can do something here. Splyce feel more confident, looking for a fight. Kobbe is strong at this point in the game.
Gotta be careful. Oh boy. Okay, Kobbe's incoming. Force him back. Maxlore could still hop in for the steal. Don't know if he wants to do that. He had to burn his flash. Instead, he just takes the Blast Cone Express the other way. So Splyce, sigh of relief. They pick themselves up a Mountain Drake, deny it away from Misfits, have some control in this jungle.
Let's go. Oh, it gets so frustrating to play against because every time you do anything as Misfits, Kobbe will run towards you with insane amount of movement speed and just start shooting you in the face. And if you try and jump on him, well, Zilean ulti will be there. So despite being down, despite having lost 2 Infernal Drakes, Splyce have not lost a Baron yet. They still have tier 2 turrets alive, and they're still scaling. They knew they could fall behind early against this Misfits draft, but they're getting stronger and stronger.
Well, you talked about late game. You talked about the bot lane. I mean, this is where the power is going to come from. This is what Splyce have had going for them. Yes, they gave up a fair bit early. Yes, they got pushed back. But all of a sudden, they've reasserted themselves. They've been able to push out. They've minimized their losses. Misfits haven't gotten any more but those 3 turrets. And despite the fact that the true Infernal Drakes have gone the way of Misfits, Splyce are showing that they're still equal to a fight.
And Maxlore, of course, with the damage build we talked about earlier, it's kind of same deal as with the Galio. When he jumps in against double AD carry late game, he needs to be careful. He has a lot of damage to try and kill them fast, but he will also melt pretty quickly. Luckily, though, the Jax, with his ability to use Counter-Strike and some of the extra stats he will get from his ulti, can be a little bit hard to take down fast. Once those things are on cooldown, the Counter-Strike is what I'm referring to here, he dies.
Those are also safe AD carries, right? Kobbe's got to jump. He can leap back. He can Buster Shot the moment he sees the Jax coming at him. And Nisqy can Valk away.
Yeah, and if Kasing gets a Mikyx, then there's another way to cleanse away from a taunt, from a Galio or stun from this Jax. So we're really looking at Misfits to try and get this Baron down, or at least force a fight around it, while they're still feeling very good going into a team fight, because they've not been able to create a pick. Splyce have just been sitting and defending. Misfits didn't try and get any tower dives going with the tier 2 turrets. Sadly for them, against double TP, it is difficult as well to do. So now we are looking at Misfits around the Baron itself. Another reset coming in from Mikyx. He's running TP on this Tahm Kench, so if he's needed, he can just TP back into the game.
It's always the TP advantage when you have 4 of them in the game. Well, 3 of them now, Hansama trading it away for a heal.
And there's a possibility that later he switches the TP to cleanse on the Tahm Kench, just in case he gets hit by like a double bomb from Zilean. One important thing to highlight is, in a meta of stopwatches and hourglass, champions that can then apply some sort of CC just when you get out of that stasis does get a bit of extra value, and makes it a little bit harder to sit in the front line and know that you have stopwatch as your main safety, because once you get out, you might just get bombed instantly and get stunned.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, Splyce still sniffing around this mid. A lot of pings. They want to try and defend the top as well. Nisqy, very mobile wave machine. Yeah, Kobbe. Oh, dude.
He's so fast.
It's like a cannon strapped to a Ferrari. It's insane.
And Misfits engage. If you look at it, it's mainly around Maxlore jumping in and then get the Galio ulti onto him. Otherwise, it's more of a kite comp.
And there it is.
Hansama. They're trying now, but Galio's not in range just yet. He's nearby.
Oh my god, here we go. Speed boost. Kobbe chunking him out, and goes Xerxe for round number 2, trying to cut him off, but Mikyx swallows up the puppy. However, they're coming on in. That's a package Valk for Nisqy. The blast cone is popped. Splyce reasserting themselves once more in this map.
Yeah, Misfits will struggle when it comes to killing the AD carries. So it's going to be a fight of who can kill the front line first. But it's both a Corki and a Tristana versus just Hansama.
Everyone's back, and Splyce, do they dare to try and start out that Baron? Do they feel confident enough in the 5v5?
They don't have to. Keep farming, keep scaling. More items on Nisqy, more items on Kobbe. Get Mikyx on Kasing, and then suddenly it's even harder to kill these AD carries. Love to double warmocks on the front line of Splyce.
Yeah.
Because they're going to walk in, take a bit of damage from Hansama, back out again. Get all the HP back, and then you can do it over and over and over. Misfits, once again, looking towards the Baron itself, but they don't have any control in the jungle behind it. And it's really tough for them to actually stop the Baron, because Splyce are controlling mid lane with Kobbe and the movement speed from Kasing. So they don't have control mid to safely start the Baron, and knowing that Splyce won't remain. Look at this!
Oh, Kobbe, he goes very aggressive right now, and they're looking for even more. The Tahm Kench swallowed up. Hansama gets the heal, and he's trying to walk it out under tower. However, he's getting pulled in, and Sencux trying to come right back. He brings Mikyx back to the team, who's in full retreat right now with teleport coming in. Alphari, that's a big Mega Gnar! Let's see if Misfits can turn this fight around. There's the stun up, but Kobbe staying alive as Alphari grabs the first kill of the fight. Onto Kasing. Xerxe's going to fall not long after, courtesy of Hansama. Maybe that sustains right now. It's a double kill for Alphari. That's a quick 3 kills.
If you can't reach the backline yourself, well, then you can wait for the enemy team to try and reach yours. Splyce forced the engage, and then suddenly Alphari appears behind him with a huge ulti here from the Gnar. The 2 AD carries are still alive on Splyce's side, but the entire front line died.
Things just got real, Deficio. Now it is Baron time for the Misfits. Xerxe down, no smite steal available, and that means it should be pretty easy for Misfits to clean this one up. And now they are in a commanding lead once more.
And Splyce, they were just farming and waiting. And suddenly they saw an opening. They jumped to start this fight here with the Tristana. So now the entire team is forced to follow and overextend. Behind them, there are a bunch of minions and a few wards that Alphari can TP onto. This ward here being used now. Mikyx buys some time with the stopwatch, and then look at the ulti from Alphari. In the last second, he had the Mega Gnar.
That was dirty.
That was so important for Misfits, and while the AD carries stay alive, as we talk about how hard it is to kill them, if you can just kill the front line, you can still win the fight. And with that, Gnar in the last second, and with Splyce chasing for the kill, there was a big opening, and Alphari punishes the entire Splyce team.
Hero play.
Oh, yeah.
Collect the spoils of war. They get the Baron. They grab themselves the last Elemental Drake. It's another mountain. We've had such a game for impactful dragons. It's going to help that siege, to help them push down. And you got to think, now they got a little more firepower. Now they're getting that Kog'Maw nice and fed up. And now maybe it's the time to start looking at diving in those tier 2s.
Well, it's not the end of the game just yet here. Splyce, they're definitely still in it. It's just Misfits are trying to see if they can get an inhib down, but they still got to get through the tier 2 turrets. And there's enough wave clear with double AD carry on the side of Splyce, 2 guys with static shift on Kobbe right here, that it's not easy for Misfits to push. They have Alphari in the bottom lane trying to do what he can, but there's double TP. Or used to be. Odoamne swapped over to Exhaust actually this time around to be better in team fights. If he can get onto Ansama and use the Exhaust, that's one way to prevent the Misfits AD carry from dealing enough damage to kill the front line. But for now, it's Splyce once again stalling. This is going to be one of those 60-minute games of just non-stop team fighting in the end.
Oh boy. Well, maybe we'll see some more decisive fights. That one certainly was. Oh, Gnar. Oh, Alphari. Hello.
Good move here using Tahm Kench ulti and the pressure they have in all the lanes to just roam from mid lane to bot lane. That's one turret down.
They melt him.
1 minute 20 left on this Baron buff, Pyre. They're not getting an inhib for it.
No, but they did get one tower. Let's see if they can get any more. It's roaming unit. No, they decide to just back away.
Elder Drake will be huge for Misfits if they can get it later with the double Infernal. Oh, they stopped on Sama's recall.
Hold on a second. Kobbe finding the dog all isolated. That's a lot of damage. Oh, he wins the 1v2. Can he get it? Kasing. He's got it. It's a double kill.
He's still alive. He's dead.
Oh, but that was sick, man. Talk about a value play.
Holy moly, he killed Kobbe in like 2 seconds.
All right, if there's any doubt in anyone's mind that that is the best AD carry in Europe right now.
Well, he melted Kobbe. Kasing had to use ulti on himself because he took all the damage at first. And suddenly, Misfits pushing for another turret.
Okay, not gonna get much more. The siege machine's dead.
They stopped his recall when the entire team had already gone back to base. Let's see it again. So they're all recalling with the Baron buff. Hansama delays the recall by just a second. Gets interrupted because Kasing shows up. Okay, the fight is on. Exhaust early. Hansama's damage coming in. Hansama ults himself. And Kobbe does not get enough crits to kill Hansama. And then he dies.
All right, I think Amazing is right. Splyce are the unlucky Misfits.
For now. 80% crit chance on the side of the Tristana. Lost the 1v1 right there, or 1v2 I guess we can say.
Sencux making a hero's entrance. Mikyx is already there to save Maxlore. He's never really in any danger. He's got those 2 guys at his back. Misfits go right back to controlling the Splyce jungle. But man, that play, that'll be on highlight reels for a while.
We're gonna get more of those. We might get another fight here, Pyra.
All the Forge God knocking it back onto Sencux, swallowed up once again by Mikyx. And Alphari, not quite Gnar yet. But Splyce don't fancy another go-round.
Alphari also went for the Hurricane build to have more push in the side lane, but it does make him a lot weaker in the actual team fight against the Splyce lineup. He also want to just try and stack his Rage Bar as fast as possible, and he knows in a team fight, if he can get an ulti like the one we saw earlier, it buys so much time for Ansama to kill whoever's right in front of him. But we get to see how Splyce, despite being down 7,000 gold, they don't care. They're the ones looking to force the fights. They are so confident that Nisqy and Kobbe will stay alive and win the team fights for this team.
As long as they don't bait all their tanks.
Yes. Don't over-chase, for sure.
That's okay.
Because Sencux right now will deal some serious damage, but it's not what we see from some of the other mid lane mages. They, of course, would go for the same kind of build as we see on the Galio Xerxe. Just drop low, but he's fine.
He's got the Warmogs. It's merely a flesh wound to Fishio.
We might have to see more of their push 3 lanes from Misfits, then Tahm Kench ulti to the side lane and secure a turret. You can do that very effectively until you start getting to the inhib turrets, and then the distance between the lanes, it's so short that when you're making this old Tahm Kench play, most of the time the enemy team can just move from mid to top or bot lane and still defend in time, but you can do it for the outer turrets at least. Next big one though, Elder Drake.
At the same time, Baron's gonna spawn too. Misfits have all the control. They should be able to secure the Elder Drake. It's huge for them, but maybe Splyce opt to trade for it. I'm not sure.
Well, right now they can't trade for anything other than, I guess, looking at where the objective will spawn. I wonder if this ward is just placed around the edge, so a control ward inside the pit will not see it. Definitely one of the goals when you place these wards and you know you're gonna get pushed out is you place them just around the small corners of this Baron entrance. So when you put a control ward in the Baron itself, it doesn't actually see the ward. In this case though, what you do is you activate your sweeper and then you check, and then you kill the ward. It's pretty simple.
Over and over again. Misfits shoring up their vision game for sure. Getting closer and closer to that 2 objectives spawn. And the 40-minute mark, as you called, it will be a very late game, it looks like. Get to that full item point, and Alphari, he might have been a little weaker earlier on, but he picks up the Gargoyle Stone Plate, so he's going to have some serious tankiness for Splyce's members to contend with.
Yeah, he knows, again, for him, it's also about just staying alive as long as possible.
Yep.
Don't let these 2 AD carries kill you fast enough so they can start taking down the rest of your team.
One for Odo, too.
Yeah, I mean,
the upgraded locket.
Both these tanks, just, it's miserable sometimes to play teamfight as a tank, because some of the fights, your job is to walk in, distract the enemy, take a bunch of damage in your face, and then risk dying.
Ooh, different AD carry sped up this time. Nisqy providing the threat. Okay, I got a little ahead of myself. I thought he was going all in with that package.
He's definitely
sniffing around.
He's feeling confident right now.
Okay.
Oh, that's a stun on Hansama.
Here we go. Forge God's calling. Who's going to hit the answer? It's going to be Alphari. Still in mini Gnar, and Xerxe's hopping away. In comes Maxlore. It's a lot of chunk damage here. Sencux trying to get the taunt off. Odoamne leading the charge. It looks like Splyce the ones that have more sustain right now. They're on the offensive.
The double AD carry is winning at the moment here. The front line of Misfits dropping low. They're forced to back away.
Splyce can get an objective if they want off of this one.
Let's see where they go. They are moving towards the Baron for now. Pings from Misfits near the Elder Drake. Maxlore is on the way. Want to see if he can trade objectives, or is he going to change his mind?
Teleport in the mid. Sencux already coming in. Now the Baron's already down. It is easily going to fall. Let's see if they can get there to contest the Elder in time.
Yeah, too late from Misfits here. If they want to go for a trade, they should have rushed the Elder Drake, but they moved towards mid instead. Now, Splyce is showing up. We might get the same kind of team fight. Mikyx already down to 50% HP.
Yeah, so is the Dragon right now. Let's see if they can do it. And see, they're going to try and bail out, bait this one out, not give Misfits, not give Splyce a chance to secure this up. It's going low. We could be in for a smite fight right now. Odoamne getting the stun off, getting the knock up off, and it's incredibly low at 2,500 health. Xerxe's inside the pit, but the Dragon's going to reset. It's confused inside of this one, and now Nisqy, the rest of the team is isolated from Xerxe. They decide to back out for just a second, but the Dragon's gonna fall. It's gonna get secured by Misfits. That was a tense one.
Hansama stepped forward right there, got Nisqy very low and forced Splyce back so they could actually secure the Elder Drake. Misfits get it with double Infernal and Mountain Drake, so it's a big one, it's a fatty one for Misfits right now, and they can still look to try and win a fight with it, but man, these fights, just watch the AD carries move against each other. If you suddenly get too close and Hansama get 2 or 3 hits onto you as a squishy Corki or Tristana, you're forced out of the fight instantly. Misfits suddenly controlling it. If it's the other way around and it's Nisqy and Kobbe just shooting away 2 members versus the front line of Misfits, they're winning the fight. They can kill them faster than Hansama can do, and suddenly it's Misfits backing away.
And now it's Elder versus Baron buff. Stakes keep getting raised, Officio. Oh man, I think talking about the post-game lobby here after this game finishes, there's going to be a lot to say about this game for sure.
It's going to be a very, very close one. Still, when it comes to late-game fights, the Zilean double AD carry combo is fantastic to watch and so strong. I think if Splyce makes sure that Nisqy and Kobbe can stay alive in these fights and the tanks do not overextend, then Hansama might struggle to carry the Misfits team.
And of course, in a game with Ornn, you're not just talking 6 items, you're also talking upgrades. We've already got 1 Molten Edge completed for Kobbe. Another one possibly for Nisqy could come out later. There's always a little extra options there.
We also got the Mikyx we talked about earlier from Kasing that we wanted to see. Just in case there's a flash taunt or a stun from Maxlore. That comes in instantly from Kasing's side.
Very true.
Hansama, though, been playing very well once again. Great positioning in these fights here. Stepping forward, trying to see if he can hit some of the squishies. Decent damage. Gotta remember, double Infernal with the Elder Drake.
Yeah. And they've got the inner. It's gonna be the 5th tower of the game for Misfits. There's still 1 standing off on top lane for Splyce. Now Splyce looking to push in the Misfits members. Maxlore was around the side here. I mean, it's so close. Neither team really wants to take the straight up 5v5. Maxlore spotted. Nisqy on the chase. That's a lot of damage.
Remember, we said this Xerxe is squishy. We saw it right there. The Trinity 4 Xerxe build is great if it gets an actual 1v1 duel against something, if it gets multiple auto attacks off in a fight, and then the Sheen procs with that empowered damage from the extra base damage coming from Xerxe. That's so rare you do that in a team fight in the late game as a Xerxe. Typically your job is to jump in, stun someone, get a few hits off, and then try and jump out again or run out and try and re-engage the fight later, because you don't have enough time to just sit and auto attack things in team fights.
You mentioned some of the members of Misfits on these champions could struggle a little in the late game. Jax is one of them, but of course, Sencux, Alphari on the Gnar, on the Galio, who are a little squishier than they might be if they were going for the full tank build. Now Splyce, that's a 5-man going down bot.
Let's see. The 5-man red buff steal at 44 minutes. A classic.
Ooh.
Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Hello, Alphari. Did not want to face check that brush. The Forge God's calling once again. I don't think Misfits want to pick up the phone. Maxlore looking for an in around the side. Still, good positioning from Splyce. Nisqy on the front line. Forces out the counter-strike.
And Kasing just sitting behind, always speeding up the AD carries. Allow them to rush forward and deal a bit of extra damage. Apply the Ardent Sensor with the Ares Shield coming in from that speed up. And Kasing and Kobbe and Nisqy, the 3 best friends on Splyce, trying to take down what many, or some consider, the best team in Europe. Debatable with Vitality up there as well, but one of the absolute best in Europe.
True. Well, Misfits did beat Vitality.
They did. Fair point.
But it's not always this for that kind of situation, of course. All said and done will happen way later on. But I'm really, really excited to see who comes out on top in this one. It's been such a close game, such a tight one. And in Splyce, it seems like they short up a lot of weaknesses, but Misfits, they've been playing incredibly well too.
And Maxlore's trying to be a split pusher now on this Xerxe here. See if he can actually get any sort of fight in the side lane, or if he gets a bit of time at a turret, he can also take that down very quickly. But it's tough because he's obviously not running teleport, so if he ever gets caught on the wrong side of the map, he can't help his team. And we know that Splyce can chase enemies down with the Zilean speed up.
Nisqy does not want to pick up the package.
Interesting.
Yeah. That's like my experience with German delivery. Let's see what he's going to end up doing.
Oh, they're fighting again.
Oh, the Forge God forcing the flash. Okay, Hansama, though, on the front line. He's the one. Turnabout's fair play here for this doggy. See if he's got any more. Maxlore, it's all buying time.
Yeah, he finally gets to this turret here. Good damage coming in from Hansama onto Kobbe, forcing him back. And as we can see, Misfits are not winning the game currently based on just 5-on-5 team fighting. They're winning it by split pushing, by utilizing Tahm Kench ultis, by utilizing a Jax jungle in the side lane. They're pulling Splyce apart.
It's all about those objectives. Misfits got their eyes on the prize. Alphari goes Mega Gnar. Hansama pops out of Mikyx's belly. That is just about it. They've got a couple of towers for their troubles. Maxlore, nice, easy take of the red buff.
Back to top lane, keep split pushing.
And another minute till Baron buff's active, or Baron is up, I should say.
This is definitely then the value of going for damage on the Jax jungle. Once again, we might get some very cool fights around the objectives when they're alive, but for now it's Misfits winning the last few minutes. Finally opened the base of Splyce. There is an open inhib in the bot lane. They know, however, if they actually go for any sort of push towards it, there will be a team fight starting.
Yes, there certainly will be, but a while ago you predicted this is one of those 60-minute games. We have a big explosive fight, and the game is over. We still got 13 to Fischio.
And we still have some fights to watch and analyze. At the moment, we're still looking at what Misfits wants to do with the Elder Drakes still not alive and Baron spawning in 10 seconds time. We know Splyce control mid with the double AD carry, and we know Maxlore wants to split push side lanes. Good thing that he's on top side, because of course without the TP he can't join for a Baron fight if he's on the other side of the map. Splyce can start it though and just jump out and engage. Oh, the double control. They try to hide it. You saw that? He tried to remove the second one instantly, being like, no one saw this, but the camera sees everything.
Yeah, our observers don't miss a trick, that's for sure. Splyce weighing their options here, but meanwhile there's still a lot of push going on. Alphari, he's still on the bottom. He just goes Mega Gnar. They want to force a team fight. Maybe they can wait out his Gnar bar.
I mean, they can stop the Baron and they force Maxlore to leave this top lane and go for a fight. And the TP coming in now. Odoamne's TP should
It's already gone.
Be here very soon. That was very quick.
Yeah, that's a Mountain Drag. That's 48 minutes on the clock. The Misfits, they're trying to pincer them here, but the teleport's going to come in for Odoamne. If he completes that one, they might be in for a fight. He gets taunted up for just a second. He's already down to half his health bar. Let's see if they can turn this one around. The Buster Shot, Maxlore still doing the damage onto Kasing, but the Resurrect's coming in. And this is just a fight on multiple fronts here. Mikyx is already down, and Hansama, Sencux chasing in, looking for Nisqy right now. Can Misfits do this? Getting the shutdown. They found 2 members, but they paid for it with 2 of their own.
That was a 2-for-2. Fights everywhere. Maxlore on one side ended up dying against Kobbe and Kasing. But then we got to see on the screen how the rest of Misfits could actually kill Odoamne very quickly, and then Nisqy right after. 3v3, Baron over to Splyce.
It's going to be very important for them to try and keep this one alive. Hansama incredibly low right now. There's no way for them to resurrect him. Kobbe's going to get the kill. This is huge right now for Splyce. Looking for more damage. Gnar, Alphari, Sencux trying to keep him at bay. Xerxe comes in. That's a shutdown. Kobbe staying alive. So is Xerxe. A hop away. Keeps Alphari at bay. Let's see if they can do it to finish the job on him. But that boomerang is still threatening. And they've got to back off. Alphari, the lone survivor of this carnage.
Another very close fight here, but Kobbe finally got the kill onto Hansama. Let's see it again. We have Misfits coming from multiple angles. Maxlore behind the Baron. North, we get Alphari. South, we get the rest of Misfits. And we do see the instant TP coming in and then a punish onto Odoamne. But meanwhile, we have Maxlore and Alphari fighting Kobbe and Kasing. Kasing used ulti on himself. Maxlore's now in a 1v1 duel. Ends up losing it against the full HP Tristana. So he goes down. But obviously on the other side, Misfits gets that kill onto Nisqy and Odoamne. Meanwhile, Splyce are pushing right now. 15 seconds on Hansama, 20 seconds on Sencux.
Those are still some serious death timers. They're going to start with an inhibitor and not look to push their luck too much. Kobbe's on the front line. He's hopping away. So, all said and done, it is Splyce that break the inhibitor line.
It is not over yet.
Not by a long shot, Deficio.
We're gonna get some more crazy fights here.
Oh boy.
Kobbe versus Hansama, always exciting to follow. 2 of the best late game AD carries in Europe, and add in Nisqy on the side for Kobbe and gives him a small advantage, I guess, in the AD carry department when they're technically 2 versus 1.
I suppose that's true. But man, I mean, what a duel.
45 seconds Pyra for Elder Drake. Maxlore's getting some more damage now. Tiamat wants to be able to push faster in that side lane. He knows his job is just to be a split pusher now on this Jax. He's on the bottom side sitting.
Yeah, but so is all Splyce.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of Splyce members.
They're not going for him. Because the rest of Misfits have arrived. This is going to be another fight.
Sencux is top lane at the moment. Always have to remember in late game team fights, the channel time on TP is important. Oh,
got the Jax.
Onto him.
But here comes the cavalry. Mikyx, this time he's all alone though. So Kobbe, the rest of Splyce, they're jumping right on in. There's that gray health, but it's going to be melted through pretty quickly. Teleport's coming all the way up. Mikyx is going to fall. Nisqy's going to get the final shot on the flash auto. And instead of the Elder, Splyce were looking at the tier 2 down bottom, but this might be their chance. They've got a man advantage for another minute.
So, sitting with the Baron buff still, should be able to secure Elder Drake. Maxlore, if he goes for a steal, he risks dying for it, and that could be crucial.
Alphari's here.
They're still around.
He's got half a Gnar bar. What are they going to do?
It's 45, Pyra.
Yeah, I mean, if they can steal this one out, it would be legendary right now. But Splyce are 5 members strong on this dragon. Trying to secure it. In goes Maxlore. A little bit too late. He gets rooted, pulled back in. The dragon is not smiteable just yet. And they're going to pull him back in a way. Sencux trying to get it in around the side, but it's Xerxe who's getting melted down. Maxlore, no, he's still not quite fallen yet. Sencux finally will. And the Forge God comes out once again, looking for Hansama. Melting through him, and that just might be it. Splyce, it's a double kill over to Nisqy. And Alphari is running for his life, trying to kite back. And Kobbe picks up Maxlore.
They're gonna go for the finish now, Pyra. They're TPing into the base straight away. They got all the AD carries alive and super minions in the mid lane.
Damn the Elder Drake, they just want to finish, and it's only Alphari to try and hold on to this game. But he is seeing his base melt before his eyes. The tanks come crashing in. Mikyx is right back up. But this is going to be all she wrote, just shy of an hour. Splyce are going to finish the game against Misfits.
Great late game team fights from Splyce. We kept talking about the scaling, the Zilean with the double AD carries. Misfits, 4v5. Felt like they had to try and stop the Elder Drake, but that ended up just being a very, very bad decision from the team. They got punished, they died, and they lost.
At that point, it's all about those little mistakes, and Splyce, they could not be happier. They come away with a win in a hard-fought battle. They had another one yesterday, but this time, they get the W. Big smiles all around.
This team, they value these late game comps so much. Misfits got some good early advantages. We saw nice movements between lanes to secure turrets. But when it came to then starting to play around Baron to get that big push towards the win, it got slowed down a lot. It got delayed a lot. And then suddenly we got too far into the game. 3 items on Kobbe, Zilean with the Ornn sensor, and max rank in his E. And then suddenly an AD carry comes flying in your face whenever you try to do anything in mid. And what happens is Splyce takes over the mid lane. And when you control mid, you end up controlling the Baron as well. And Misfits never found a way back. They didn't feel like they could win these big late game team fights. So they tried to split push. Maxlore was in that side lane multiple times.
That's a harder game to play for sure.
And it doesn't
end of the day.
win you the game. Tough game for Misfits. Fantastic late game team fighting from Splyce. Super fun game to watch as well.
Oh yeah, it was so tense for a good 20+ minutes of that one. And man, what a ridiculous amount of damage they were dishing. Kobbe
There's no happiness.
was just annihilating people.
Odoamne also.
Odo had a pretty good game. We gotta give him some credit.
He's smiling, he knows, he picked the Ornn, his job was to be a front line.
Well, and Kasing's job was to put a speed boost on somebody and watch him go.
Second time with the Zilean, second time he wins.
Dude, who needs a meta?
Confirmed
Kasing's got it.
overpowered.
Absolutely.
It is actually
Total win rate.
It's super good in the
Hey,
late
whoa,
game.
we didn't get a pentakill this time, though. I'm a little disappointed.
Yeah, that's true. But those 2 AD carries, I guess they got double kill and
Yeah,
triple
they had to
kill.
fight. It still counts?
Kind of penta.
All right, so they can share it.
For Splyce at least it counts for now.
Now, the win certainly counts. These guys are feeling great
And once again in Europe, everyone seems to beat everyone.
on a given day.
Only Vitality sitting at number 1 now with 5-1. Misfits could have tied it, but they end with 4-2 here at the end of week 3.
Splyce improving to 3-3. But we've got a little unfinished business to Fischio. We've got Odoamne, Kobbe, Kasing, all contesting for player of the game. We want to hear from you guys at home, so head over to @LLeSports on Twitter and vote in the poll. You'll get your results in the ULCS postgame lobby in just a few minutes. But I want to ask the expert next to me. Who do you think? Who do you think deserves that one?
Oh, tough. Team effort, 100%. Like the performance from Kobbe on this Tristana here. Had some good plays towards the end. If I had to pick one instantly, I'd probably go for him in this game.
Fair enough. Yeah, especially up against his counterpart, Hansama, who was, I mean, earlier in the game had pulled off the 1v2. That's an insane highlight to watch, too, despite the fact that he didn't win the game.
And he had to actually also, on the side of Hansama, some fights where he was able to kind of dodge around the main engages, and then when an AD carry stepped forward, he did get a few hits onto them, and it forced Splyce back. So it was a tough game for him to play, but he actually had some really good team fights as well on Hansama's side. It's just the comp from Misfits, it was so difficult in the late game to kill 2 AD carries. You didn't have that much hard engage. I got a camera right in front of me right now, Pyre.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey. Well, you were saying about how difficult it is to kill 2 AD carries that had QSSs, and I mean, Maxlore's life was really difficult that last half of the game.
Yeah, the DPS built on Xerxe in late game team fights versus a lot of damage doesn't really work.
Yeah.
So that's why he became a split pusher, which did give them a few turrets, but they needed that one last team fight towards the end to actually get in and finish the game, and they didn't get it.
I also think it's a big testament to how well Splyce were able to just not only like group and just death ball, but to be able to like kind of like move themselves back and forth all over the map and not give really any opportunity, despite the fact that they were losing towers in the top and the mid and the bottom. I mean, it's not easy to do that against a very oppressive team like Misfits.
It's not, no, 100%. I mean, you still have to execute the late game fights, and we saw a few times, even though you had the Zilean ulti to help you, if you got too far forward as an AD carry, you could still die.
Or your tanks would die for you.
Or your tanks would die for you. We had that one big fight.
Maybe Xerxe and Odoamne are going to like pull Kobbe into Nisqy side. Guys, I know you want to kill people, but relax a little bit. It's okay. You'll get your pentakills when they come.
I love watching Tristana, though, when she gets the speed up from Zilean.
Because
the dragon kind of just takes off, you know, and she just flies through the mid lane
speed
to try and kill someone.
It was pretty amazing. All right, for more on Splyce's win, we're going to send it over to Medic, who's sitting down with their bot lane.